Scientology is one of the most successful religious cults in the world. This is owing much to the promotion of different Hollywood stars and musicians. Different Hollywood stars like Elfman and Kirstie Alley and Tom Cruise and John Travolta, to name only a few, have gone on record promoting Scientology. Stars like John Travolta and Kirstie Alley have even taken to the airways in defense of Scientology. But is it possible that what they are defending is yet another Aleister Crowleyan satanic cult?
Do you ever think that you might be quite mad?
Oh, yes.
Scientology has at times come under the scrutiny of the secular news media, but the stark truth has not yet been told. That Scientology is in a way another fruit of the teaching of Satanist Aleister Crowley is barely known. Few people realize that Scientology's founder, Ron Hubbard, was yet another disciple of Aleister Crowley's, who referred to Crowley as his good friend.
Magician. The magic cults of the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th centuries in the Middle East were fascinating. The only modern work that has anything to do with them is Trifle Wild in Spots, but it's fascinating work in itself, and that's work written by Aleister Crowley, the late Aleister Crowley, my very good friend. And he did himself a splendid piece of aesthetics built around those magic cults. It's very interesting reading to get a hold of a copy of the book, quite rare, but it can be obtained, The Master Therion, Therion, The Master Therion by Aleister Crowley. He signs himself The Beast, the mark of the beast, 666.
Hubbard stated that Scientology's basic idea paralleled Crowley's doctrine of do what thou wilt. He stated, our whole activity tends to make an individual completely independent of any limitations. Aleister Crowley had some interesting things to say about this. He wrote the Book of the Law. Ron Hubbard's oldest son, Ron Hubbard Jr., who witnessed his father's discipleship under Crowley, admitted his father was a Satanist and a follower of Crowley.
Well, the funny thing is that the actual truth is about as far out as Scientology itself. Really, the basis of Scientology, which is rather hidden and covered over, is the occult, the deep involvement with satanic powers. We felt that he was deeply involved with a British black magician called Aleister Crowley, and through putting himself in deep hypnotic trances and the use of drugs on himself, he wanted to become the most powerful being in the world.
Ron Jr. stated that, like Leary, Ron Sr. felt that he was helping to complete Crowley's mission. Ron Hubbard Jr. stated that his father considered himself to be the one who, quote, came after, and that he was Crowley's successor and had taken on the mantle of the great beast. Scientology actually began on December 1st, 1947. This was the day Aleister Crowley died. It appears that Hubbard believed that Scientology would be instrumental in building Antichrist's kingdom and seeking to destroy Christ at his coming. In a document alleged by many former Scientologists to be written to OT8s, the highest level of Scientology, Hubbard declared, quote, my mission could be said to fulfill the biblical promise represented by the brief Antichrist period. During this period, there is a fleeting opportunity for the whole scenario to be effectively derailed, which would make it impossible for the mass Maccabean landing or second coming to take place. The second coming is designed, among other things, to trigger a rapid series of destructive events. Ron Hubbard was close to Jack Parsons, who was a rocket scientist and co-founder of the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Parsons and Hubbard worked together to produce a moonchild through Crowley's sex magic, which they hoped to be the Antichrist. Before Parsons was killed in an explosion in his laboratory, he wrote a book called The Book of the Antichrist. In this book, he called for the destruction of, quote, the Black Brotherhood called Christianity. And he stated that the Antichrist would bring all men to the law of the beast, 666, and in his law I shall conquer the world. Aleister Crowley was a deceiver who lied to his followers by promising them freedom and all the while bringing them into satanic slavery. While Crowley claimed that his followers would be free through the practice of do what thou wilt, they were actually brought into satanic bondage, the worst kind of slavery and non-freedom in existence. Notice how Crowley's doctrine of thelema, or will, was really a subtle way of enslaving his followers to Satan. Crowley taught, quote, they must accept the book of the law as the word and the letter of truth and the sole rule of life. They must acknowledge the authority of the beast, 666, and of the scarlet woman as in the book it is defined. He said they must accept their will as constituting the will of the whole order. Whatever happened to do what thou wilt, right? He stated they must accept the crown and conquering child as the Lord of the eon and exert themselves to establish his reign upon the earth. In the end, Aleister Crowley was totally deceived. He died hopelessly addicted to heroin and enslaved to Satan. Witnesses declared that his last words before his death were, quote, I am perplexed and, quote, sometimes I hate myself. Crowley himself had been totally deceived by Satan as he was led to believe that he himself would be the Antichrist. And now he was on the verge of death, not having realized his twisted dream. He was said to be very depressed before his death and extraordinarily fearful. Crowley knew that it was time for him to face his Creator whom he had so mocked, and he knew that the Scripture stated it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God, and that our God is a consuming fire. Crowley was heard pacing before his death until he finally collapsed and met his horrible end in hell. Sadly, he is taking millions of people to hell with him as the father of modern culture and as the patron devil of